In the lively city of Lagos, there lived a career-driven woman named Nneka, a high-flying executive in a multinational company. Nneka was known for her ambition, style, and dedication to her work. She had clawed her way up the corporate ladder, breaking barriers and shattering glass ceilings. But her pursuit of professional success came at a price she was too busy to see. Nneka was married to Emeka, a quiet and loving man who worked as a teacher. Together, they had a beautiful 3-year-old daughter named Ada, who had the chubby cheeks and infectious laughter that could brighten any room. But while Emeka adored their daughter and spent every spare moment with her, Nneka was often too preoccupied with her career. Work meetings, business trips, and late-night phone calls were her life. Emeka often tried to remind her of Ada's milestones, the first steps, the first words, but Nneka always dismissed him. "I'm doing this for us," she would say, packing her laptop bag. For Ada's future. As her responsibilities at work grew, Nneka decided to hire a housemaid to help with chores and childcare. After asking around, she employed Grace, a young woman from the village who came highly recommended by a family friend. Grace was polite, quiet, and eager to please, and she quickly became a part of the household. Grace's duties included cooking, cleaning, and looking after Ada while Nneka and Emeka were at work. At first, everything seemed perfect. Ada appeared to bond well with Grace, and the house was always spotless. But Emeka began to notice something unsettling. "Nneka," he said one evening, "have you noticed that Ada cries every time Grace picks her up? Maybe she's just not used to her yet." Nneka, who was busy answering work emails on her phone, barely looked up. "Grace is doing fine," she said dismissively. "She's probably just cranky. Let's not overthink it." A tragic day. One Saturday, Nneka received an urgent call from her boss about a last-minute meeting with an international client. Though it was supposed to be her day off, she rushed out, leaving Emeka and Ada at home with Grace. "Just keep an eye on Ada," she said to Emeka before leaving. "I'll be back by evening." But later that afternoon, Emeka was called away for an emergency at the school. Assuming Grace could manage Ada, he left without much thought. When Nneka returned that evening, she was met with chaos. The house was eerily quiet, and Emeka was pacing the living room, his face pale and panicked. "Nneka," he stammered, "Ada, she's gone. Grace, she's gone too." Nneka's heart sank. "What do you mean she's gone? Where's my daughter?" Emeka explained that when he returned home, the house was empty. He had searched the neighborhood, asked the neighbors, and called Grace's phone repeatedly, but there was no answer. The police were called, and a frantic search began. Hours turned into days, and then the devastating truth emerged. Ada's lifeless body was discovered in an abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. The police investigation revealed that Grace, overwhelmed by Ada's tantrums and crying, had resorted to violence to silence her. In a moment of frustration, she accidentally caused Ada's death. Panicked, she fled, leaving the child behind. Nneka was inconsolable. The guilt of her neglect weighed heavily on her. She replayed every moment in her mind, every time she had prioritized a meeting over spending time with Ada, every time she had ignored Emeka's concerns, every time she had left Ada in Grace's care without question. Emeka, though equally heartbroken, couldn't hide his resentment. "I tried to warn you," he said one evening, his voice trembling with pain. "But you were too busy with your work to see what was happening under your nose. Ada needed you, Nneka. We both did." Nneka resigned from her job shortly after Ada's burial. The house, once filled with laughter, now echoed with silence. She couldn't bring herself to return to her old life, and every room reminded her of the daughter she had lost. Months later, the police apprehended Grace in another state. She confessed to everything and was sentenced to prison. But for Nneka, no punishment could bring Ada back. A lesson learned. Nneka spent the rest of her days trying to atone for her mistakes. She began volunteering at a children's home, dedicating her time to helping kids in need. She and Emeka worked on rebuilding their marriage, though the scars of their loss remained. Nneka often sat by Ada's grave, whispering apologies and promises. "I was blinded by my ambition," she would say softly. "But I see clearly now, my Ada. You deserved more, and I failed you." The story of Nneka's loss spread across the community, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of misplaced priorities. While Nneka could never undo the past, she vowed to honor Ada's memory by living a life of love and presence, a painful lesson she learned.